back to Weebology, everybody. I am your
Jesus.
weird cadence professor, Ricky.
Something has happened to him within the last 5 minutes.
Short-circuiting right now.
He got wet outside, and now he's just...
I did. I'm actually not all-terrain. I'm very water-averse, which for the weekend that it is right now, pool-centric and all of that, seems pretty counterintuitive for me to be this way. But after this episode right now, I'm going to my dad's place, get smoked meats, ribs, sausage, wings, all of it. I want it.
all of those things that are meats and also smoked.
I will not even look at a vegetable today. Unless they come in potato chip form.
Damn, I wish I had a vegetable out to like force you.
I don't want it. I don't want. You know, I can't, man. I'm just
I
gonna
don't
walk
want you
out.
to eat it. I just want you to see one.
You just want me baby steps.
Yeah.
I'm glad you respect that. It's like I'm not gonna make you eat the broccoli. Just look at the broccoli.
Yeah.
No.
It just seems like you were so confident that you wouldn't be faced with vegetables today.
So far, successful.
I can make it happen right now.
This would. Why would you want to ruin my streak?
Good point.
My veggie-less streak. I don't know why I'm celebrating this lack of health.
Yeah, you're I don't know, man.
I need to broaden my diet. I need to broaden my body and my mind.
I don't know if I said this, but I'm Ethan.
And today we are broadening our minds, maybe for the worst, because we have a little bit of a different episode this week.
Yes.
And I'm actually really excited to do this.
It's harder than I anticipated.
Is it because it's hard to search and
Yes.
find the good ones? I think the way I did it was, I was telling you before we hopped on, you know, I had an idea of a question in my brain. Did somebody kind of already pose it? And
But I wanted really dumb fucking questions.
we found some pretty dumb fucking ones.
Yeah.
But we'll get into them. So what we're gonna do today is we decided to take a little trip down to Quora, sure, and look up some anime questions that people have asked, either dumb, funny, intriguing, or some mix of all three. And we're gonna do our best to answer some of the stuff that people have said or asked on Quora, because I've been getting emails from Quora about anime-centric questions for like years now.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask for this. It just happened to me. But now I see him come across, and I'm like, what if Kakashi did this? I don't know, shit. And someone would be like, you dumb fool, you ass. You're dumb, and here's why. And they go on a rant with GIFs and shit in it.
Well, so I guess the original part of this would be Yahoo Answers, right? Because
Yeah.
then there's like really dumb questions.
But didn't they die?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Yahoo Answers is no more.
R.I.P.
I know.
R.I.P. We had
'cause
some good
I think
times.
this would have been a lot easier with Yahoo Answers, to be honest. But
You hear that, Yahoo Answers? You hear that, Yahoo? You did this to
I
us.
really doubt they hear it.
Well, they might. They're obviously listeners.
Right.
So yeah, we jumped on over to Quora. So we each have kind of picked out a couple questions that we're gonna kind of pose and see if we can do our best to, you know, answer like professors do. You know,
Yeah.
like we do. You want to go first, or I got one on. I got one already on the dome right now.
I mean, I can go with like a really general one. It's
Okay.
something that we've talked about before, but I think, you know, as time goes on, it's always fun to revisit this.
Good warm up. Let's hit it.
So the question is, I don't know what the user is. Don't really give a shit. The question is, there was the original big three,
Yes.
of course, of One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach.
Right.
What would you consider the new big three? Now, the first guy who answered gave like a kind of strange answer, in my opinion.
Okay.
It was, I think, MHA, Dr.
Sure.
Stone.
What?
I know. And I can't remember what
If
the
Black
third one
Clover's
was.
not on that
That's
list,
what it was.
Okay. I can at least vibe with that.
Which is interesting because I don't know if I'd put Black Clover on the list for that anymore.
So I think the concept of Big X is gone. Like, we are in a different era now where streaming and seasonals are the mode. There is no more. If you want to put another thing in that big three, Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Like, shonen as
Which
hell.
is over.
Which is over, but I mean, so is Naruto. So, I mean, still big three status. So, I mean, I get it. But it's over almost.
Well, I think
anime-wise.
the point is new big three would be
Currently
something that's
airing
currently
right now.
running and currently got episode or volumes and stuff being added.
Is an inherent property of quote unquote a big 3 show a long form shonen?
I would have originally said that.
Right. So I think that's part of it.
So I think the new big 3 for me is One Piece.
Yeah.
Because
It's still going. It's still going. Yeah.
And then I was thinking maybe, because this is like not my personal big 3. It's just like what I think the world likes a lot.
It is what everyone would be into.
Like
right.
Demon Slayer seems like it would make sense, except for I'm not sure if that's done yet. I think it is.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Jujutsu Kaisen, I
I
thought
was
was
just
an
gonna say,
option.
and people are saying when it comes out, Chainsaw
That's
Man
what a good
apparently
third.
slaps. Yeah, so Jujutsu, One Piece, and I can see that. I can see those 3, and Chainsaw Man. I can see those 3, but that's where I go back and forth on. I think the concept of saying what is the new big 3 is inherently a flawed question, because the big 3 got its status not just because of the world it built and the long-running stature and its hold up over time. It was because it was the most accessible. Those things were running so long because we didn't have the high turnover that streaming provides.
Well, I believe the big 3 is actually just like an epithet added from like the New York Times came up with
Interesting.
it
Yeah.
as like which of these manga have penetrated into the U.S. market the most.
And the big 3 were
Right.
XYZ. Right. So
because, and I saw, I probably should have just brought that question up and read it, because there was a lot of explanation as to like where the origins came from, but also, the original asker for some reason thought it was Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Naruto, because of course Dragon Ball sold more than Bleach did.
But weren't they all, was Dragon Ball a Shonen Jump property? That's where I think the thing was, because all 3 of the big 3 were Shonen Jump publications.
Right.
That's where and that's where kind of the concept of shonen is obviously as a genre. It's literally describing an age and gender demographic, but also Shonen Jump. That's where it was kind of pulled from. Those things that spawn from that it's the kind of the mecca source of shonen. So I mean, I can see where people would kind of deviate away from calling Dragon Ball a big 3 show, but if you want a new big 3 in my brain, I think we have yet to see the real ones be adapted yet. Because, like we said, Chainsaw Man is coming, but apparently from a manga standpoint in Shonen Jump, it's absolutely slappers bananas. Like, it's going off. So, I mean, maybe we have yet to see the new big 3. Or maybe we've seen 1 or 2 of them be adapted, but yet to be, up there with the big boys yet. Do you not think Black Clover? It seems like...
Well, I would have thought that before they stopped animating it.
I think they're about to go into Shippuden. Their flavor of Shippuden.
Yeah,
right?
But I just feel like it's going to be a gap. It was pretty clear to me at the end of that there's going to be like a fairly solid gap.
Sure.
Which leads me to wonder what's Pierrot going to do.
I think what they're going to do is 1,000 Year. Because they've already announced.
Hope.
They're already announced because they did
the
the original Bleach. So I mean, it would make sense that like they literally like stop the presses. We got the 1,000 Year Blood War greenlit. Like let's send this home because it deserves that due diligence. Before I do my generic one, I want to do one that was very Bleach specific. That actually was a very interesting question. How would the world of Bleach played out if Ichigo never met Rukia? If he was never stabbed.
Ooh, a nice what if. I love this.
Never stabbed at all. So how would that play out? Aizen would have been straight up, he would have won, right? Because Ichigo was there to stop him, so he would have succeeded.
Well, so I think that the issue that arises with that question is he has so much latent Soul Reaper power already.
That's why I asked this.
There is a potential he still becomes something. The question I think that needs to be asked is, can he actually go into a Soul Reaper body without ever meeting Urahara?
Yes.
That's the real question.
Right. My immediate follow-up was something similar. At what point and in what capacity would he enter the fray of the spiritual game, so to speak, right? Because I think you're right. Quincy mom, Soul Reaper dad, hollowification inside. He's too much of a nexus point, and that gives him access to Fullbring, which I think would have actually been his real entry point. I think at
Perhaps.
some point that would have unlocked the latency within him, because that, in a way, did when he lost his powers, right? So I think that you're right. The follow-up question is, at what point and how would he enter the fray? And I think the Fullbring would have been the first thing. Would have taken a little longer, but he would have gotten there, right?
I
Or maybe
think that
Quincy. Maybe Quincy.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking there's a potential that. So I know Ryukin would have never taken him in to teach him Quincy powers.
Okay.
Even though his mom was a noble, so it does seem like it would be fairly reasonable.
Right, because that was what I was thinking. Like, that's the only reason, because he's kind of a fucking hard ass, right? But you are royal bloodline. So,
And he loved Misaki.
right. So you are kind of, there's a duty within you that you have to learn this stuff at some point. Maybe Ishin wouldn't have wanted that for him because, big team Soul Reaper kind of thing. But I think Soul Reaper would have come last.
He really isn't. So I urge everyone to go watch the Everything But the Rain
Yeah,
kind
you
of
keep
like
telling me about
moving like manga panels and stuff.
Little novelette.
Video on
vignette.
YouTube.
Cool.
Because Ishin doesn't really give a shit, to be honest. He's
Really?
just like
Okay.
he gave up his powers so fast when there was like basically Misaki got fatally wounded trying to save his life.
I know the big story beats, at least in that part, yeah.
And he basically instantly is like, yeah, sure, I'll give up my powers to
save her. Yeah.
essentially.
So,
So he loses his powers to basically keep her grounded to Earth and not turning into a crazy hollow.
okay.
But there's a question that comes from this is the reason that Ishin regains his powers is because after Masaki's death, he has nothing that he needs to be expending his powers on.
Right. So it all comes flooding back, right?
But it bothers me throughout the entire show, like in a retrospect. This is,
Okay.
of course, way off topic, but
Sure.
I love going down the...
that's where that's
Yeah.
what this episode's about. So
Yeah, so in retrospect, it really bugs me that his dad had been steadily gaining his powers back.
right.
And of course, he knew Ichigo had powers because
Oh, for sure.
you
Like,
know
he
he knows what he is,
literally
but
knew,
he also
right? Yeah.
can feel it.
Right.
But
Exactly.
somehow he can't feel his dad's captain level Ryatsu.
But isn't he good enough? That's the thing. Like, isn't a captain able to control their spiritual pressure enough to?
To a point, but here's the thing: when they come to the human world, they're artificially
Dampened.
dampened.
Yeah.
So my question was, can you artificially dampen yourself
To
that much to the degree where you would be like nothing?
Well, Ishin was kind of a badass OG. So I mean,
he's a captain noble,
right.
Like,
So
he would have a lot.
if anyone could, he could. Right. But also, he's probably been pretty good at it for so long because he's been using it for what's his mom's name again?
Misaki.
Yeah, he's been kind of learning to port it, so to speak.
No,
right?
so Urahara had created a device that would directly port it.
Oh, so it was assisted.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's interesting then. So maybe you have there's some credibility to that question. Would it really be? And Ichigo does get very powerful very quickly, so at some point he should be able to sense that.
Well, and he's not like the most sensitive like to Ryatsu, right? Like he occasionally just will not figure it out.
There's only one time where he was super sensitive, and that when he went big daddy Mugetsu evolution, and he can sense his sisters like all the way across town. So yeah, that was the only time he ever showed anything like that. But I guess you're right.
But I mean, he knew when hollows were in the area. He like felt this kind of shit, and so it's
Right.
like these hollows are definitely not near as big as his dad
Right.
or as Ryukin. Like
That's-
it just seemed like
It's worth the thought. You're right.
I think it was maybe a slight plot hole that was introduced.
kind of just like shuffled under the
Yeah.
rug to make sure you had the reveal at some point, right?
yeah.
But to the question, I think another question that comes up from that is, would Ichigo have joined the fray in time to actually stand a chance or care about Aizen really at all? Because the end game here, I think, is Aizen succeeding in destroying all the worlds and rebuilding it with the Soul Key. And yeah, I see the world ending if Ichigo never met Rukia, because even if he entered the fray through Fullbring or Quincy or whatever, and at some point meandered his way into Shinigami powers, The only other way I can see is the Aizen threat appeared on the horizon, and the only human being ever to maybe tell Ichigo is his dad, oh, this shit's coming. You might be super powerful. We need to train you up right now. Like, super frantically, like, oh, fuck, he's coming. We need to get you trained. But
I don't see that because he
right.
didn't give a fuck about Aizen.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the only way I can see Ichigo making it in time to be strong enough to combat Aizen, because no one else could. Take the plan to its fruition. No one else could stop
Well, I
him.
think there's a lot of ambiguity as to whether he could even really use his Soul Reaper powers without the substitute Soul Reaper badge or
Sure.
those little candies, soul
right.
candies. Because, I mean, it's really trapped in his human body.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing he could do in his normal body would be Fullbringer.
Yeah. Well, Quincy.
Well,
Like,
yeah, but
those are only two paths, right?
he doesn't learn that till like 6 million years later.
Right. And
I don't
it's
know.
kind of an accident thing.
I mean,
right?
I really haven't like figured out exactly why that is. I know he's like unintentionally using Blute Vein.
Yeah.
Like through most of the series.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, I guess he could have been. It is kind of weird. You would think Ryukin would have wanted to maybe have a really powerful ally.
Yeah, right.
If he knew like a potential 1,000-year blood war was coming, right?
Right. Oh, do we have any kind of diamond in the rough noble Quincy lying around? Oh, there's that orange-haired kid, Mr. Strawberry Kurosaki himself. Like, cool, let's do it.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's hard to say.
So yeah, my thought: world ends. He just doesn't make it in time. It just doesn't happen for him. So
yeah.
All right, you got another core question?
I do. Okay, why does this is funny. The tags are great, by the way.
Okay.
Why does anime/manga make me feel so emotional and make me cry? The tags are crying, anime and manga, anime, understanding emotions.
They were type. This almost sounds like an alien who this first exposure to humanity was anime and manga, and he's never felt emotions before.
Yeah.
What are these feeling right now? Hashtag understanding emotions.
Hashtag crying.
Hashtag crying.
So the first answer, or the top answer, I guess you would say, is I'm not gonna say his name because
It's fine.
I'm not gonna embarrass this guy.
Yeah, hashtag crying.
But,
It's fine.
He goes, well, anime in general, all in all, is more emotional and interesting for me than most other fiction. Don't get me wrong, I love fiction. I love all kinds of it, from reading books, comics, and manga, to watching series,
Stop
anime,
bragging.
and movies. Yeah, you can read.
Yeah, you can read.
Congratulations.
Quit gloating. Oh my god.
But I have found that sometimes anime is more interesting with deeper meanings, plots, and characters. Yes, sometimes you get superficial anime that's sole purpose is just to show opai or be perverted.
Opai's truth.
Yeah, but some like Shigatsu wa Kimi no Osu, Fullmetal Alchemist, and many more was created to inspire and entertain those that want to think and feel. For example, in 2011, I never knew what anime was, although I had Dragon Ball Z and Digimon as childhood animation behind my name.
Dragon Ball made me cry.
My life was pretty bad, and I was at a bad spot. Just let it roll, bud.
Okay.
A really bad spot. My friend saw this and turned me on to fiction. Well, he just can't spell, apparently. He said told me to turn to fiction. I can't read, of course.
We already know this. It's okay.
And that is where he gave me Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I watched it, fell in love. I felt connection to the character Edward and made his last quote my life directive. A lesson without pain is meaningless, for you cannot gain something without sacrificing something else in return. But once you have recovered it and made it your own, you will gain an irreplaceable full metal heart.
Okay.
And then he says, from there, he took it way more seriously. And this is where he is today at 22, still watching anime, blah, blah, blah. So it's good. And I respect you for that. Do not let others discourage you from things you love.
Yeah. That last time I agree with that. But I mean, easier to love anime nowadays than ever before. But I want to answer that a little bit more technically. Why, for some people, is anime more emotional and make them feel more emotional than maybe live action might? Two things. One, I think it's because you can exaggerate emotions to a degree that is not possible in real life, right? big anime eyes, kind of crazy expressions, really, big globby tears. You can do more. You can go bolder with emotion, right? So it's kind of like, more artificially tugging at that string, maybe.
Hmm.
But the second one is there are some people that are more introverted and are not great in a social setting because maybe reading people is harder for others. And I think being able to have that emotion conveyed in a not in a live human doing it, but same emotion, but a human character portrayed in anime, maybe tugs a little better than someone who's not so emotionally receptive in the real world.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
See, I think there's a couple reasons, but mostly it's just the overall design of the show.
Right.
I think you can make something way more, tense, in a movie or in a show than in real life, right?
Right.
With just the backdrop of music or
Yeah.
just like, the circumstances leading up to something.
Mhm.
Like I think like you're saying, the more exaggerated, like overall scenario, I think hits harder in a lot of ways in real life. But I think real life emotion's weird, right?
It's subtle. You need a
There
bit
is
of a
subtle, but there's also just like you can tell when people are faking it sometimes. You don't know whether someone's faking it sometimes.
right.
Like it's hard to like I think real human emotion is so complex
Right. And you
that
think
it's tough to really decipher even for people that are emotionally I don't know, well suited to figuring out what other people's going through or whatever you want to say.
I feel like we're both pretty empathic folk. Like you can kind of
Right.
in a room of people, you can feel who's the tense one in the room,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay. But I get what you're saying. So you maybe it's not to say anime emotional portrayal can't be complex, but that complexity is laid out before you, and you see its full breadth. Whereas
But
there's a
I
lot
think
more hidden.
exactly. I
Yeah.
think everything is on everyone's sleeve in anime.
Right.
Even when they are that cagey introverted player,
You know it.
you
Right.
see it.
Yeah.
You see everything about them. You see their whole life. But
Yeah.
real people, you see such small glimpses of each other throughout life
Yeah.
that it's really like I think most of real human interaction or not interaction, emotion is really internal. And I think that's kind of what makes anime pop so much harder is like these things are out there for you to see. You
Yes.
see everything.
Right, and it's those shows that add the complexity but portray it in a very understandable and engaging way are the ones that are rated higher because we've talked about shows like I don't understand their motives. This did not make sense.
Yeah.
That emotional reaction was not what it didn't fit. And the reasons why the ones that are rated lower is because of that, right? Because the ones that take emotional complexity and lay it out on a silver platter in a nice kind of feast for the soul, right? Are the ones like he brought up Fullmetal, perfect example. Very complex emotional situations, but nothing is obscured for long, right? We know like even greed in that show having the switch and kind of falling for humanity a bit, that's an emotional turnover and that's really cool. But you see it all. It's all right in front of you,
Right.
right?
And I think, like I said, I think something like Full Metal, it is book ended by two extremely emotional events.
Yes, yeah. And
And so I think it's really, really important to feel that or else you've missed the point of the show.
mhm.
Whereas like real life, there's it's hard to say like the point of real life is to feel the emotion of somebody else. Right?
It could be somebody's point of life to empathically communicate with others, but you're right, it's not
But it's
the-
like that's not it.
it's not it, right? A show's point is it. And it's funny that he brings it up in this emotional thing because the reason why I'm not a big slice of life guy or a drama guy in anime particularly is because I personally feel that real live shows do drama better than anime. Anime does action and fantastical pieces better than in a lot of cases live action because it's a medium suited for that. But I feel like live action for me personally is suited for drama. And, I guess if I'm going to do romance, I'll do romance real life. Because I feel I get a lot more emotional attachment from that kind of thing. But that's personal. That's me. That's subjective, right? So maybe it's part people don't get with human emotion very well in the real world, and that's fine. They find it in anime. Other times, I think it's because of that exaggeration. They can tug harder at the strings, right?
Well, I also think it's because it's a kind of a solo pursuit to watch an anime. You're not doing that as a team. There's no reflection to you, right? Like that's what a lot of emotion between humans is, interaction.
That's actually a
Is
really
like,
good point.
there's a reflection.
Right. It takes two to have empathy, right?
Yes.
Because there is no empathic reaction without feeling the emotions of another. That's interesting because with anime, it's you're given, right?
Yeah.
There's no empathic effort. You are thrown the emotion, right?
Yeah.
And you get to feel it rent free, right?
Right, and plus you're just sitting on your couch
Right.
eating fucking cheese puffs.
Having a hashtag cry to great teacher Onizuka.
Yeah. I mean, you're just eating your cheese puffs there, getting freaking blubbery.
Oh, anime, you're gonna get my cheese puff soggy with my tears. Hashtag emotions.
But yeah, I thought that was an interesting question.
Actually, shockingly engaging. Okay,
It's fun.
Yeah, I hope he's doing better. I hope he's doing good. I think at the end he said he was doing well.
It did. I don't know. I just feel like it can really get emotion across.
Yeah.
And it's easier to feel, I think, comfortable for a lot of people to feel the emotion of a show rather than another human
being because it's vulnerability.
Because it's real and vulnerable.
Real world, man. God.
Yeah.
So, question I got that I think would be kind of fun. What are the signs that an anime is going to be trash? When we, as analytical, wrinkle brain minds, look at a show, what can you see maybe early on? Say with the Religion of Three, right? First 3 episodes. How do you know it's going to be trash? I know one right off the bat. If all of our worst of weebs have all had one thing in common, it opens with a panning shot of the earth and a narrator. Every single time,
That's
without
a really
fail.
good point.
So I know. Also, strangely enough, this rule of thumb is changing, but if it is source material of a game, I think it's going to be trash.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and Reiji Muhammad was one that changed my mind, but up to that point, pretty typically that, right? Someone said the Dota wasn't bad. The Dota anime wasn't bad, but I'm taking that with a heavy grain of salt. So,
yeah.
What can you see? You're looking at that, you're like, oh, fuck. I think it's bad CGI for me, too.
Yeah, I mean, like, visuals can hurt, but it's really plot. If the plot's just dog water and you can tell it's not going anywhere,
Yeah.
like, after 2-3 episodes, it's like, oh my God. Or if it's, what I don't like is something that's too obvious. I mean, at this point, I've watched a lot of anime. I've watched a lot of fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen too many movies.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
Like, I can basically guess a lot of plots. If there's no surprise, there's no pizzazz.
Yeah.
Then what's the point? Unless it's done to the freaking nines.
There it is. Because I was going to say, as much as we have put inside of our brains now, tropes run together, right? So I used to, when I was in my maybe intermediate stage, was like, oh, I've seen this trope before, therefore this is going to be a redux, this is going to be a rehash of something I've already seen. But inevitably, if you watch enough, there won't be much new under the sun. You can't say, I've seen this trope before, therefore this is not going to be good. That can't work anymore. It just won't. So you got to go beyond. How is this trope going to be refined? How is this trope going to be subverted, right? You're right. The pizzazz's got to be there. But if I see, like, they pull up a trope, and I'm like, and? No, that's it. That's the set piece, right?
Yeah.
Harem, lowly, like, and? Is she a badass? Like, is she 3,000 years old and not going to be sexually weird? Trope subversion.
I do think for me, if they open like in the first half of the first episode with just like a shitload of like
an exposition dump.
Ecchi.
Oh, ecchi. When they, yeah.
I'm like guaranteeing I'm not going to enjoy it because it's almost a personal thing too. Like
that might be. I guess I would be kind of okay with it, but that to me sounds like that's the hook and that's all you're getting, right? If they open with it,
that's the other thing. Is it a crutch?
Yeah.
Right?
Is what
like,
I'm seeing
Jesus
a crutch?
Christ.
Yeah.
Like for instance, season 2 of K.
Yeah.
Just like super ecchi out of nowhere.
The first season had maybe like 2 ecchi scenes.
I mean, she
maybe?
had massive jugs, but she was not like constantly getting her shit ripped off.
Fire Force style. Yeah.
Right. Like it was not Fire Force. And then second season, they're just like, just kidding. We're going to CGI her boobs.
That's. Oh, shit. Can't use some interesting CGI though. So like, I'm trying to temper expectations now about trash anime because maybe we've gotten better at recognizing things for what they are. If I call popcorn anime a lot in a lot of our episodes, that's not saying they're bad or require not a lot of thinking. It means if you want to be casual and don't have to
Yeah.
be edge of your seat watching, doesn't mean it's trash just because it's shallow.
Well,
You know?
because here's an example. I would have thought Aruma-kun would be trash,
Yes.
and it's absolutely platinum.
You show somebody just the season 2 OP, tell me that's not a trash show.
Yeah.
But the show this season fucking rips. I love this
Absolutely
season.
shreds.
I finally caught up. Oh my god.
It's amazing.
It's great. The turns are awesome. So I mean, I think the signs of a trash anime can be used to an interesting effect, right? The goofy aesthetics of Iruma-kun backdropped against a pretty shockingly deep demon world and kind of funny goofs and gags and an interesting plot. They use what I would consider a trash anime. Yeah, I guess that would use it. They can use trash anime tools against itself.
Yeah, that's true because there's like there's like things I absolutely can't stand, which are like musicals, and they use it in Aruma to great effect.
Like that one character in it's pretty good. Trash anime trope. X of the week shit. I hate it. Think like, remember Pastel Memories?
Yeah.
Where basically it was like a book of the week, like of every episode they'd go into a different story and do a thing and save the day and then we're done. If you're gonna tell me a story, but take 4 hours chopped up into 12 bits, tell me a story. Don't do this. It's so cheap. You might as well not have an anime because or at least a full season. You might as well just like, I don't know. I hate like Monster of the Week shit. I hate it so much. It's for kids. It's what it is. It's for children. They want to have a resolution and go to bed sleeping soundly.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it trash
you
anime.
say that, but like
a lot of the big shonen start out that way.
But also like Pokemon was always like that, and I never really had an issue with it.
I have an issue now. I didn't then.
I still don't. I thought I went back and rewatched season 1 in college. I think I told you that.
Yes, but didn't
like,
on mic we say it was basically nostalgia driven and fueled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
that's what I'm saying. And I don't say maybe that's a personal thing. Kind of like your Ichi opening. Mine is X of the week shit.
Ecchi. Why are you saying Ichi?
It's Ecchi, right?
But you keep saying Ichi, which is one.
Oh, Ichi Ecchi. Just one Ecchi.
Yeah,
I just want one Ecchi. But yeah, so I don't like Monster of the Week shit anymore. Pokemon gets a pass. Yu-Gi-Oh gets a pass. Like the ones that I grew up, they get a pass because, like I said,
Yu-Gi-Oh was pretty in depth.
That's what I'm saying. Yu-Gi-Oh had arcs.
Yeah,
you had the Duelist Island arc, the Battle Kingdom arc. Like you had arcs, even in a kids show. You're gonna take all this time to build.
And you had Weevil, so you know it's
even
a good
had fucking Weevil, dude. Look at his character arc. It's crazy.
Or Rex Raptor.
Or is it Tristan?
I can't fucking believe they let him throw the freaking Exodia in the water.
That little bitch.
Like
a little bitch.
Unbelievable.
He got he had the fourth blue eyes, his grandpa's fourth blue eyes blasted. He had his Exodia waterboarded.
Yeah.
Couldn't catch a break.
Not one.
He found a Millennium Puzzle where some other pharaoh lives in his brain rent free. Fuck him, I guess. Yuji's getting the shit.
Yeah,
he's getting the shit out of that
fucked.
stick. But yeah, Monster of the Week. That's that now for me. I think if you're doing it for seasonal, you don't get a pass from me. That's trash.
I think dumb characters is also like a telltale sign that's gonna be terrible.
Dumb how?
Like if all of them are just like stupid as fuck.
Kind of like white people horror movie, like let's go in this creepy shack,
Yeah,
like that shit. Horror, yeah. Oh, I wonder what's in this crazy chain-filled farmhouse.
Or Surprise Pikachu. They're all just like,
oh, there's a killer in here. What? That must be cow blood, right?
Yeah. By the way, I saw A Quiet Place 2 yesterday.
How was it?
You know, it seemed like something that would not go well as a sequel.
Yeah.
It was not bad.
Okay.
Really.
I wanted you to say, like, honestly, despite the title, not that quiet.
I mean, it's pretty loud.
It's pretty loud. Yeah. Okay. Trash anime, I think, to sum it up, trash anime is a pretty subjective concept, but there are some tall tale signs that you can tell when something is merch or money grabby, and that's fine for what it is. But I think we're in an age now where there's so many in the pool every season. you got to step up your game. Give me a hook. Give me something that's gonna bite me. You know, I need to be grabbed by your premise at least. Because every time we do the previews, we go through the top half of the list and we scroll yada yada yada. Right? There's a reason for that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. You got one?
I do.
Dead air. Oh no.
This one's kind of dumb, but why not?
Why not?
Says, if Sakura knew that Hinata loved Naruto since the pain arc, why didn't she try to get them together?
Because she's a selfish bitch.
There it is.
Yeah, and game end. She, like, everyone already was so, like, soft on her. Like, just no. And then when she tried to convince Naruto to not go after Sasuke by saying I love you, I wanted to flip a desk. Like, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
So upsetting.
I think there is potentially very few crimes that should be punished harsher than, like, fake using someone's love against them.
That's harsh, man.
It's tough.
Because you knew, and the thing was, like, Naruto, didn't he, like, hyperventilate and pass out in the snow right after that?
Well,
because that was a different reason, but I mean, like, that was a pretty rough go. But yeah, like,
because I love you. I swear that was the worst scene for me in the entire series. I could not tell you how pissed I got.
Because, like, I remember where I was when that dropped. I was living, I think, with Patbot actually was it sophomore year, or maybe a little earlier than that.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But I remember dormitory out loud. What?
Yeah.
And just this crazy, insane, like, blinding white hot anger approached me, because what was the question specifically? Like, why did she never get them together? Because
why didn't she try to get them together?
She was too busy thirsting over Sasuke, for one, and I don't think that was even something she gave. Like, maybe she was putting Naruto on ice just in case. I don't know. What did the person say? What does this answer say?
It's really long.
Okay. No. Wow. Yeah. I respect you for not. But I saw a meme the other day where it was like the final fight, and Sasuke and Naruto don't have their arms, and Sasuke leans over and goes, "Did you mean what you said when you said the loser has to marry Sakura?" Yeah. Fuck. So I mean, God, she was so. Maybe we can make a case. Can you even make a case? Say you're doing an over-under on Sakura, which I think we should do, by the way. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, that could be the next episode. We'll see.
Could be the hardest over-under in history.
Hardest over-under in history, depending on what side you take. Underrated would be the hardest one. Well, maybe not. That's the thing. Could you make a case that Sakura is actually not a piece of shit? As a ninja.
I think overrated would be hard because she's so rated poorly.
Right. She's rated. You're right. Yeah, she's rated very poorly. But I mean,
one of the answers, holy shit, you're a simp. I respect it, though.
I respect it. Holy shit, you're a simp.
Good.
Simp for who?
I guess just women.
Just women in general. That's funny, man.
And then one of the answers is because it's not Sakura's job to push them together. That's Hinata's wish. She wanted to date and be with Naruto, but it's not Sakura's job to make it happen. Fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Straight facts. Like, what do you do with that?
Naruhina wasn't a legit thing until the last fanfic came around. That's pretty funny.
I hate the word Naruhina came out of your mouth, dude. I know. It's not your fault, but I hate that it came out of your mouth anyway. Oh, shit. What was the one? Yeah.
This goes, have you even watched the last movie?
Yeah.
It goes, give it your all, okay? Sakura telling Hinata to, like, go for it. But it's like, isn't that way after the war?
It's way after the war. Like years and years after the war. Yeah.
That seems like
finally she nutted up.
Yeah, like
and
20 years later.
She didn't even nut up. Naruto in the movie said it.
Yeah.
And it was very blasé. And it's like, I'm not doing it just because I love you or anything. And she's like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, I love you, babe. Love you, babe. Love you, babe. Yep.
Little smooches.
Love you, babe. Little chakra smooches. So, in the end, simp. Simp energy. Big simp energy, this guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I think like the real reasons is kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because I do find it odd that she did try to like string Naruto along so much. But I do think at one point she probably did feel pretty guilty about the fact that she was like, "Hey, go get him back and
Yeah.
don't stop until you bring him back," kind of
Right.
thing. Because that did really shape a lot of Naruto's like next years,
Right.
right? That like unbelievable responsibility
Yeah.
placed solely on his shoulders to the point where he was doing like fairly reckless things.
Yeah, right.
And it's really like her fault
It is.
in some regard. Like I think Naruto needed to do a better job of standing up for himself for a lot of the show. But
The way he did it in the early days that he knew how was kind of delinquent-y and destructive, kind of. Like,
well,
it's not standing up for himself, he's being seen, right?
yeah, I mean that was more like attention seeking.
Sure, yeah.
This is different. This is
Yeah.
like you need to tell her like, look, it's not my job alone. You know, I'm gonna do what I can, but this guy's a dickhead, and I would say that was like
This guy's a dickhead, right, Sakura?
I mean, that's my
Jesus.
main like annoyance with those two is that entire time this guy's like literally being a terrorist, and they're like, no biggie, I like him still.
Yeah,
both
right.
of them, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he's my brother, and she's like, I want to marry him.
So I
His
think
freaking eyes, dude, they're so pretty.
so pretty, dude, and one's purple now. Oh fuck!
Aw.
I think Naruto has more of a credence for this because his end game, yeah, he's my brother, he's my rival, blah blah blah. I'm gonna get him back. Is in effect an anti-terrorist motion, right? Like he really is like, I want to get him back because he's fucking shit up, right? But no, he's saying it's my brother, but that his actions would still have happened if he had the motive of we need to stop this fucking terrorist, right? Same thing would have happened. I think he wouldn't have wanted to kill anybody. That's his thing. But I don't know. Sakura there's no leverage with her. Like, I want to marry him. He's a terrorist.
Yeah.
But he's
Bro,
hot.
Come on.
But he's hot. Come on. His chakra's so cold, though. Dude, dripping. It's fine. I don't know. I think Naruto gets a little bit of a pass, but I see what you're saying.
Well, because I feel like his is almost nostalgia too. Like I think both of theirs really is for like what they wanted Team 7 to be.
Yeah, that's
you
a good
know,
point.
and
Yeah.
then maybe like the first time they felt like they had a cohesive like family unit. I don't know what Sakura's deal is. She clearly has some like family issues. I don't really understand.
I think it's just because her parents like really didn't amount to much, right?
I don't know.
Isn't she the daughter of like two non-ninjas?
I thought they were. I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't remember. It's so long ago.
I think that's what it was, but like you're right. I didn't see any detectable family issues in any of that, but it's clear that she definitely maybe has some abandonment detachment issues.
Well, I'm sure it was just like, you know, wanting to be the best or, you know, be the one that everyone wants, you know?
I guess, yeah, because her motives, her passion and drive was not about to be the best. It was about to keep up with Naruto and Sasuke, and to keep up with myself. But that inherently is always going to make you second rate, right? Just to keep up, right?
Yeah, I mean that
She
is
had no
definitely
ambition.
that
Yeah.
is an extreme flaw in her strategy.
Yeah, right.
If you're already saying that you have no chance of surpassing them, you're just gonna stay as close to them as you can.
That's
Like it definitely hurts.
yeah.
But you know, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like later in the series, that she was like, okay, Naruto is such an important piece of this village. Like I'm gonna fake this to him, say that I love him to try to keep him, you know, away from doing dangerous shit. But I just think, you know, she's played with his emotions too much. Like if I were Naruto, I would have been a psycho by then because of
Yeah.
all the different bullshit
Right.
I've heard.
Right, because like she would basically like he would want to, you know, shoot his shot, and she would be like, "Fuck you! I have this pretty boy supreme over here. You're dog water. Who doesn't matter until I need you."
Yeah.
Because me versus Pain, the diva path, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scream your name, and you're just gonna come running. But
Ridiculous, first of all.
it makes me upset. But I guess it only works for Naruto favor because that's Naruto's character. He's always going to be there to like save his friends and stuff. That's always who he is with indiscriminately. But Sakura's got to fucking pull her weight, man. Like,
Well, it bothers me the most just because like he answers her prayers even though she doesn't deserve it like at all. right?
That's scripture right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she answers the prayers even though she doesn't deserve it. Because what have we seen her do to be anything other than support? Her entire world, she's good at she's good. She's a genjutsu type, so she can break genjutsu pretty clean. She's a medical ninjutsu and stuff, and basically her thousand ceilings or thousand hand sealings, whatever it's called, basically will ensure that she's alive on the battlefield for as long as possible to support. Her entire world is to be supporting character.
Which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think
She had no ambition to me.
her, well, I mean, she did a lot in the war to like save people's lives,
Fair.
Like I think that's just as important in a war as doing the damage.
Take the medical out first, yeah.
Right. And so, like that doesn't bother me so much. It's just like she played with him so much and he still responded. Like that's the thing with those characters, those True North characters that I call. They're just like unaffected by like how fucking mean people are to them and how bad people are to them.
Right.
So like that's why I like a character like Naofumi.
Yeah.
People are douchebags to him, so he pretends to be a douchebag.
He has the option available to him of a little bit of douchebaggery. So he uses it to get ahead when everyone else is making sure he's
That's
behind.
why he's so great.
Yeah,
and that's why I think people like really liked that show.
Yeah, right.
Because you're like, yeah, you're right. That is what I want to see from any anime character.
Or the other way around, kind of like an Ichigo situation. We saw internal wavering. He was unclear of his motives at times. Am I really here to protect my friends, or is it because I kind of crave this lifestyle, right? So either you have a true north that basically the north is dictated by the world around you, like Naofumi, like if they're calling me south, boy howdy, I'm going south.
Yeah.
Right? Or you aren't that true of a north, but you still walk the path, right? There's internal wavering, but
Well, that's why I think those characters with like actual complexity to their psyches are really, really interesting.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like Naruto is nowhere near as interesting as a Naofumi or as a Ichigo.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I mean, like,
the world is gonna be peaceful because I talk to it.
I talk to it, and if they don't listen, I'm gonna tail beast bomb their ass. That's the funniest part. Everyone says he talk no jutsu, sure, but everyone doesn't say, like, everyone doesn't, because everyone considers what would Naruto's plan B be? Was like a Biju bomb, right? A fucking sage enhanced double Rasen Shuriken, or plan A is I talk to you. It's kind of like this implicit, like, we can have a chat. Go on the Biju bomb I'm cooking up back here, but let's have a chat real quick. And you're just like, oh, I see your ideals now.
This is a funny question. It's not a real one, but I just saw it as like a related question.
Sure.
It says, what if Hinata was the true villain of all of Naruto and Boruto series?
There might be credence to that because the Otsutsuki clan is where we got the Byakugan, right?
Well, supposedly.
Well, it is.
I just think it's all horseshit.
It's all horseshit.
I think they should just redact all of Boruto.
Yeah. Oh no, that's what Studio Period's doing instead of Black Clover, because Boruto has had a very high quality animation jump recently.
Maybe
in a lot of where they had a Sakuga fight in a very menial episode. I'm like,
the one with Delta?
No, that one was okay, but no, I'm talking like there's a scene where Kawaki and Boruto both trying to use the bathroom, and Naruto is like, "Oi, I'm taking a shit. Go outside, and piss." And then they're like, "Why are you standing right fucking next to me?" Because I don't know, fuck you. And then boom, they bust into like a small 20-second Sakuga fight, and I'm like, "What the fuck? What is this? What you're doing besides Black Clover? Literally taking the piss? Like you? Oh, Period. Why do you hurt me so much? And I'm still watching it because I have trash brain, not square brain or smooth brain. Those imply that I am in fact a dum-dum, but trash brain because my interests lie in the benign and the dumb.
I can't watch it. I hate it.
It's okay.
You can't depower gods like that.
That's
for fun.
That's depowering. Period is the true god. They can depower whoever the fuck they want, and it's canon now. Deal with it.
It's true.
It's not right or just, but
they're destroyers of worlds.
They are literally destroyers of worlds.
You got another question?
Actually, one that I had read that's kind of into the relationship thing, but if why doesn't Saitama date, and if he did, who would be his ideal woman?
Ooh.
because he's pretty locked in on the whole hero thing, right? But if he were known, dude would be kind of picking out numbers left and right. But some people like the bald aesthetic.
If I had to guess, I would say at some point Hellish Blizzard is gonna fall in love with him.
That has to happen, right?
I mean, yeah.
But can anyone, for lack of a better term,
Tame the
beast? Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. Really bottle that lightning, really? Because, like, imagine if he were to pop off.
Wow, that's terrible. I think
No, it's just someone that, like, physically you'd have to be. I'm just saying, physically you'd have to be able to keep up with the guy. You would have to.
yeah. I mean, there's really only two options:
Helga
Tatsumaki and
Helga She-Beast.
Hellish Blizzard.
I guess the where I'm going is, like, maybe describe Saitama's ideal woman. Also bald? Maybe bald together? I guess someone that could, like, fight him?
I don't, for some reason, I feel like he's a pretty normal guy.
Right.
And I don't really feel like that baldness comes into play at all.
No, I know.
I really think Hellish Blizzard is pretty much an ideal woman, so it's hard to, like, really do anything other than that.
She's
now,
ideal,
why
huh?
doesn't he date? I think he's at this point in his life, which is kind of odd when you really think about it, that he's just, like, purely apathetic to everything.
He's already,
He can get no joy.
Right. So would dating even bring him any joy?
It's a serious, serious question.
Because, that's kind of, it's what it's been alluded to in the manga, is that releasing your limiter does come with a bit of a cost. And that cost is just, complete trading what makes you human, because, and for all intents and purposes, Saitama's not really human anymore.
And it leads me to questions like, what is keeping him on the good side?
Right. Because I think what's keeping him on the good side is his idea of what it means to be what he is now, a hero.
Right, but
he literally.
But I think the problem is when you don't have anything that's making you excited. I think if he gets to S-Class 1, like,
Sure.
there's nothing left literally in this world that he could desire.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Yeah. And I think it's funny because, like, there is a fan comic called Saitama versus God that I've read a couple times, and it's fucking awesome, by the way. The art is incredible, and it's all fan-made. It's
Which
like
God?
God. It's God. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so, and he runs faster than the speed of light. He kind of turns time back. It's pretty fucking rad. That's where I imagine he's got to go, unless he goes kind of to the evil side. I don't even think he's going to be able to have a concept of good and evil unless he...
That's what I'm thinking.
But I think that's what it is,
It's gonna
right?
get blurred.
To his way of releasing his own limiter and beating into his brain that I want to be a hero. What does that mean to me? I beat the villains. I save the people. That is, like, laser etched into his, like, deep lizard brain.
agree, but at what point is, like, okay, now I'm thinking about it differently. The monsters are actually being oppressed. Then he's the hero to the monsters.
You have a Garo situation.
Literally.
Yeah. I think that's what Garo's supposed to rise up and be, right?
I'm sure, but it just
right.
seems like there could be a conflict at some point when he's got literally nothing else to do.
Oh, dude, I just see, like, some funny situation where, like, just some menial shit happens and it's just his last fucking straw and he snaps and then he just, like, punches the city out.
He goes to a store with a coupon and all of them are gone.
Right. He messes up the Saturday again.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it. Just blows the whole place up. Yeah, literally just, like, clap and just City B gone. So he is actually a nuclear bomb walking around with coupons.
It'd be funny as, like, a crossover parody. You know the Record of Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Where it's, like, Adam versus all these gods.
Yeah.
In a, like, basically not a battle royale, but like a Coliseum tournament.
Yeah.
Imagine if, like, as a crossover, like, parody, they just, like, instead of Adam, it's Saitama.
Yeah. It kind of leads to the famous thing: is Saitama a gag character? Because is he by definition a character that would defeat anything in one punch, right? If he tries, like, his strongest punch can defeat anything in one punch.
I mean, does he do that to the god when he fights him in the fan comic?
No, definitely not. But that's the thing, right? I'm talking, like, true canon, right? True actual canon from one.
Yeah.
I wonder and I don't think one's come out and said he's not a gag character, but is he by definition something.
I don't know that I
has-
trust one for shit, to be honest with you.
What do you mean? He's the one who wrote it.
He just makes two insanely powerful characters, and then he's like, take them serious.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Like,
because
both of those characters are the strongest of both types of characters.
right, but it's not the power that is what his focus. It's what a character with that power is.
What is Saitama's focus?
What it means to be challenged. Like that, he is what happens when
He
there's
cannot find one.
a life devoid of challenge is a life devoid of meaning. That is what
Yeah,
one
yeah,
is
yeah.
making a character, and
Which I agree with very, very
yeah, right.
heavily.
And Mob is showing that what happens when, with all of your benefits and boons, you embrace challenge. Right? He still makes progress in an engaging and fulfilling way. There's scenes in that show where it's like you could live a great. Dimple said it. You can live a great life. Look at him. Look at that guy. He's using his powers to live a cushy, successful life. Why aren't you doing that? He's like, that's not the way I want that. I don't want to have that because he doesn't want to be a Saitama, right?
Right.
He needs challenge. So maybe your relationship wouldn't even be a challenge for Saitama. Maybe he crushes that shit too.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now that you've put it that way,
right?
I think the relationship would be a bigger challenge than anything else he's done.
But
it is just genuinely like relationships are tough,
famously tough. Yeah.
especially like
Sorry, I was just thinking, relationship is not a problem you can punch away.
you hope not.
God, that's the
But
worst.
I'm just saying, like, even like interpersonal relationships are tough, right? I think
Yes.
that might be an interesting thing that comes up, right?
But right, I think. But the thing is it's interesting because Saitama. It seems as though he doesn't even need.
Well,
that.
he's so fucking magnetic that these people just follow him like a little puppy.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's a mindset thing, and I think in season 2 there was a quote. Yeah. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
His dub is one of the best ever. Consecutive normal punches.
Pow, 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 pow.
Yeah. So someone told him that maybe it's not the physical challenges you need to be overcoming, but the mental ones. Rethink what it means to be challenged. Rethink what it means to grow. So I think Saitama just needs a different mindset, and I think then a relationship would be one of his greatest challenges, right? Because in no way have we ever seen anything like that out of him.
Yeah.
Even in his businessman salary days, I don't know. Maybe that question was a little more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. It might just be like, I don't know if one really cares about that.
That's not what he's trying to. That's not his stories, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. He does a little bit in Mob, but I think that's
what I was thinking.
Yeah, and I think that Mob's a different flavor of what he's trying to get at, right? Is that Mob, with all of his godlike power, can't do things, and he sees his brother as more powerful than him because he can be successful, he can have good personal relationships, he can have X, Y, and Z without any powers. He can do all the stuff that my godliness can't, right? And that he has the right mindset, which is cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because Mob wants to be more normal rather than powerful.
Yeah, right.
But Saitama has already long past that. Like
there's no going back, right?
You cannot de-escalate from his power level.
So he's got to find either he resigns himself to a life of apathy, which it seems like he kind of does, or rethink your mindset. When that's maybe the flaw of Saitama is that maybe he's gone so far he is literally incapable of doing that.
Right.
Yeah. He doesn't know anything else now other than beat the villain, save the day. That's why he gets video games with King.
It does seem like he can sort of modulate his power. He can like open doors and close doors without blowing up like city blocks.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I mean that modulation.
So why don't you just intentionally go into a fight making yourself like a fifth as powerful?
Well, it's maybe just latent defense, right? You see that guy get smacked around 3 ways to, I don't know, the moon, and he's good. You can't turn that off, right? And there's only so much getting slapped around before you're bored, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
then he just punches and go home.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Put that on a t-shirt. There's always so much slapping around you can get before you get bored.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I like this episode idea.
Just like random hypothetical questions. I do like
one
it.
from Quora. We just come with some things hit and they kind of go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So where are we at?
59.
Oh, I'm
Actually,
getting,
an hour.
I'm getting really good at this. Okay. After what, 107?
Yeah.
Getting pretty good. But thank you all for coming to this very rabbit hole class. If you like this concept, let us know in, Discord, comments, anything like that, email, and I like it. Very high yield of content and lets us kind of pop off a couple times with rants. And
Yeah, I like it. It was fun.
yeah. So you want to watch this with your eyes and your ears. Hello, YouTube gang. Gonna get these up. Like, comment, subscribe there. All our links are in the description of both the podcast and the videos below. If you want to join us on a monetary train, only if you can, patreon.com/weebology. $1 and up gets you on our Discord with all of our past guests and our patrons. $3 and up gets you the syllabus sidebar, our lo-fi high five, sometimes anime, sometimes not, sometimes visual show that we just, try random stuff, experiment in the inner sanctum of the lab. Come on and join us. It's a good time.
It is.
Researchers say 9 out of 10 dentists approve. And
Right.
that last one's an asshole. So
9 out of 10 dentists say that the sidebar will give you less cavities
and more wrinkles.
and more wrinkles.
Less cavities, more wrinkles. Oh man.
Some might ask, why are dentists commenting on wrinkles? But it is what it is.
We'll research that.
Dermatologists.
Until
also.
we can get back to you about this dentist inquiry, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Ethan.
And this has been Weebology. Deuces. Dude, this is a dentist conspiracy, man. Why does that one always not
Big
go to
apple.
Big teeth?
Big orchard.
Big orchard.